Welcome to Palindrome ASMR. Today I'm going to be foregoing any props except this cup of tea, and I'm going to be... There's going to be a lot of silence, and there's probably going to be some hand motions, but mostly there's just me going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons, so take a seat. I want you to just breathe deeply and relax as best you can. Maybe I'll tell some stories. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about what I like and what I'm into at the moment. Maybe I don't know what I'm going to talk about, honestly. You know, I thought about doing some roleplay videos where I roleplay as a certain someone, but I just don't like that kind of thing. I mean, I'll watch roleplay videos, but my favorite kinds of videos are the ones where it's just talking and doing something. I don't know what. So, I've been searching for a Dungeons and Dragons group for over a year now, and I finally found one by complete accident. I just stumbled into a DM who needed another player, and that was that. I just said, hey, Dungeons and Dragons, is that what you're looking at? And he said, yeah, you want to join? I said, okay. I keep wanting to call it Dungeons and Diamonds because one of my books is called Dungeons and Diamonds. It hasn't gotten very good reviews. It's the only book of the ones I've written that has got reviews, and they're only 1 and 2 star, which is kind of disappointing. I didn't think I was that bad of a writer. I find it kind of funny that Pepe the Frog has become a presidential meme. I find it kind of funny that the presidential election was fought on the battlegrounds of the internet and the meme world. If you haven't heard, during the election, Donald Trump's Twitter tweeted out a picture of Donald Trump as Pepe the Frog. And if you don't know who Pepe the Frog is, go look it up and come back, because it's something that can't really be explained without images of Pepe the Frog. And so the liberal media painted Pepe the Frog as a symbol of white supremacy. And while that is arguably truthful, knowing the liberal media and media in general. I just think it's very interesting, ontologically or topologically or semantically. I'm looking for a word here. It's a word which describes the superficial interest of something. So, an interest in the broadest sense that is superficial and results from a subject's impact on its environment and how it's structured. So that would be my mind is racking its lexicon to find that word. Maybe it's not even a word in English. I'm just gonna make up a word. Phenomenological. Yes, phenomenologically. That is the word I am looking for. Phenomenology. Phenomenon. Phenomenological. It is interesting phenomenologically, which means that I find the phenomenon to be interesting. Phenomenally, it's not phenomenally, because phenomenally is a different word. It is its own word. The illogical means that it is the study of that thing, which is what I want. So phenomenological means this. I forget what I'm talking about even. I think it's Pepe the Frog as the Trump messenger. So I find that phenomenologically interesting because of the phenomenon. I find it interesting as a phenomenon, not as... I do find it interesting in other respects, but I find it most interesting in its whole state, its phenomenological state, its lauded, which in this case means spoken of and discussed version. So, phenomenologically lauded. In this case, that means that I am interested in what people are saying and how people are reacting to this meme because of its core tendencies. Oh wow. I just got into a really... In this case, semantic is the right word. Semantic is often misused, but its definition is regarding the definition and both connotative and denotative of a word. And so this discussion has been on the definition of words. And so when you and when someone says it's a semantic difference, they mean to say that it is a technical difference in definition that may not apply in the situation. And so when someone says, it's just semantics, they're saying, it's just the formal definition of the word that does not apply in this situation because colloquialism overturns any semantic implications. So it's like a set of rules in I just had a word blank. I'm searching for the word here. Informal. Wow, yeah. I just had a word blank. in informal situations, colloquialism beats out semanticism, not Semitism, semanticism. Because as long as you can get your point across, and as long as someone understands what you're saying, and the difference between hot and beautiful is a semantic difference in an informal setting, because you can say a girl's hot and you can say a girl is pretty. They mean the same thing and they're semantically different. And so they are interchangeable in a informal setting. And so if someone says, that girl's not hot, that girl is pretty, you say, dude, that's just semantics. What you getting your knickerbackers all up in a knot for? You know, this right here, this fist against the side of the head, is a contemplative body language movement. So this fist to the side of the head is usually performed when you are contemplating. And so, because our actions can influence our feelings. Okay, so let me tangent here. There was an experiment where researchers had one group of people watch a comedy cartoon with a pencil in between their lips so that they couldn't smile, and they had another group of people watch the same cartoon with the pencil in between their lips and their nose, so they were forced to smile. And the group that was forced to smile found the cartoon significantly funnier, proving that our taken deliberate actions can influence our moods. It's like the fundamental theorem of calculus, which states that integrals are backwards derivatives. Integrals are antiderivatives. And so this is like the fundamental theorem of body language. Body language, when acted out, can create. Body language is backwards body language. So body language goes forwards and it goes backwards. So that's the digression. And me doing this put me in a contemplative mood, which is why I contemplated so nitpickily and semantically about the meaning of words, because I was doing this. I just hiccuped. Sometimes I hiccup. I don't know. You know, pretending to hiccup sometimes causes me to actually hiccup. I wonder why that is. Hiccups are actually a diaphragm spasm, because our diaphragm is, I think it's one of the strongest muscles in the body, alongside your tongue. Your tongue and your diaphragm are two of the strongest muscles in your body. And because the diaphragm is moved mostly involuntarily, I don't know the science behind this, don't take me too seriously, I'm just theorizing here. Sometimes your brain sends mixed signals to your diaphragm, causing it to go spasm. That's a hiccup. So, last night, I was in a class group it was probably the worst in-class assignment group that I have ever been in. In my class, there is this kid. This is an important fact about him, but I am not trying to be racist here, but he is black and speaks with African American vernacular English. I noticed that he is actually quite intelligent, but he just can't grasp some simple ideas. There are some simple social and informational ideas and concepts that are out of his grasp. And he's a very gregarious person. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. So, we were talking, this is an industrial psych class. We were talking about how reliable transportation would be a factor, a determining factor in our proposed hiring plan. And the girl who was also in our group, the attitude white girl, who was very white girlish and very attitude, had a white girl attitude, she said, well, we asked, well, what if they don't have a car? Then he said, well, the bus can be reliable transportation too. And this guy, I don't know his name, he said, well, what if the bus breaks down? Then that's not reliable transportation. And we said, but a bus, this is the missed concept. Reliable transportation means a mode of transportation that can be relied on, not an infallible mode of transportation. So he said, what if the bus breaks down? Then it's not reliable. Well, no, but that shouldn't be taken into account when asking whether or not a prospective job employee has reliable transportation, because buses breaking down is an uncommon event and does not affect the status of bus as reliable transportation. And then to appease him, we said, all right then, if the bus breaks down, you can walk. And he said, well, what if you're in crutches? Then it won't be reliable transportation. And I said, and we say, well, no, because most people aren't in crutches most of the time. And so walking can be considered a reliable form of transportation. And he would just argue every point with this sort of misunderstanding of the core concept. Another example, we were talking about glasses, and this guy had the preconceived notion that glasses meant that someone was not able to read without their glasses. And so I had to explain to him the difference between nearsightedness and farsightedness, and why a bifocal was different than regular glasses. And so I say, you can be nearsighted or farsighted. And I said, I'm nearsighted. She's nearsighted. And he said, are you nearsighted or farsighted? He said it like, you know how kids sometimes repeat entire phrases as they, like he says, a kid would say, that is the city of Chicago. And the kid would say, we're going to the city of Chicago? Or the big city of Chicago. And he'd say, what's the big city of Chicago? And he said, in this tone, this sort of, what's the big city of Chicago? Like one big word that is not understood and parsed as individual pieces. He said, you're nearsighted or farsighted? as one term that wasn't parsed on the individual level. And he was reasonably intelligent because he knew things that only a reasonably intelligent person would know, like who Mao Zedong was. I told him, he was asking about my heritage. And he said, "Why did your dad immigrate to America?" And I said, "Mao." And he said, "Mao Zedong?" And I said, "Yes." So he wasn't stupid, and he wasn't ill-informed. He was just prone to misunderstanding of simple concepts and not aware of it, and very gregarious to boot. And so I just wanted to get along with this guy, but I just couldn't. And from the first time I heard him speak in class months ago, I knew we would not get along because he lacked a sort of thoughtfulness and wisdom that most people should have. And I'm not saying this was because he was black, in no way. But I will say that I have never met, no, I have. I have met white people who are just as bad as he is, but he was probably the worst case of this obliviousness that I have ever seen. And it was compounded by the fact that he spoke in a quick AAVE, which is African American Vernacular English. So, linguistically, all of his dental fricatives were turned into duh. Dat thing, dat ting, dat thing. That's one of the rule changes for African American Vernacular English, is that turns into duh. So it's dat thing. I can't do it. I can't imitate it. But African American Vernacular English has just as many rules and is just as structured as common Hollywood English. It's just that the rules are different and they sound coarse to the ears of someone who speaks Hollywood English. That is, I just think it was interesting that people like him exist. And one more example, he was browsing his phone and then he suddenly went, "Oh," and "Oh," like the biggest thing had ever occurred to him. Like he figured out that his grandfather had died, and he was like, "Oh, I'm about to cry." And it was like, it was insert basketball player here didn't make it to the American All-Stars team. And he said it like he expected us to care. And he said, "Oh my God, I'm about to cry. So-and-so didn't make it to the American All-Stars team." And I thought, bro, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I couldn't give a damn about who is on the All-American Basketball All-Stars team. I didn't say that out loud, but I thought, no. Anyone who reacts like that in a social situation to something as asinine as, well, to me, asinine as who made it to the All-Stars team. No. We're not going to get along. Me and you, we're not going to get along. Even though I wanted to, because he was very friendly. He was very friendly, very talkative, very friendly. But I just can't get along with that kind of person. So that's my story. I hope you enjoyed. My tea is gone. I hope you were relaxed by my rambles about various topics. I will be getting more props soon. I've run out of suitable props because I live in a trailer and there aren't very many items for me to use, and I have to purchase items at the dollar store. Ow. So, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you want me to read your aura, send me a email to the email I'll put in the link. Thank you for watching. Maybe I'll start advertising my books again at some point because I'm a writer. I've written 7 books. 7 books. 9 if you count the 2 failed novellas, but I don't count those. Thank you for watching. I will catch you on the other side.